Good day everyone, may this video find you well. We're going to share to you the lessons about teaching grammar through text and stories. So I know that you're already familiar with grammar, but today we're going to discover about how it is taught through text and stories and how will it help you to learn grammar better. Before that, I will take the initiative to introduce to you the teachers that will help us to understand this topic. Are you ready? Alright, so we have here Miss Fatima, Miss Annie, Miss Franz May, Miss Julianne, Miss Mayville, Miss Sandeline, and yours truly, Miss Michian. Together, we will help you to learn grammar better through text and stories. So without any further ado, I will give it to Miss Annie.
Thank you, Miss Michian. Hello, class! I am Miss Annie, and our discussion for today will be all about teaching grammar through text. What comes into your mind when we say teaching grammar through text? Do you have any idea? Okay, when we say teaching grammar through text, language is context sensitive, which means that an utterance becomes fully intelligible only when it is placed in its context. This means using whole text as context for grammar teaching. The good side of using text, they provide contextual information, allowing learners to deduce the meaning of unfamiliar grammatical items from the context. If the texts are authentic, they can show how the item is used in real communication. Intelligible means able to be understood or clear enough to be heard or read. So let's have this authentic text or classroom text. Advocates of authentic text argued that not only are such specially written in English as foreign language text uninteresting and therefore unmotivating, but they misrepresent the way the language is used in real-life context. On the other hand, the problems associated with authentic text cannot be wished away, either as any teacher who has attempted to use a dense newspaper article with low-level students will have discovered. A classroom text is authentic if it was originally written for a non-classroom audience. Any material written in English that was not created for intentional use in the English language classroom, a newspaper article or a pop song are thus considered authentic. So, using this content to teach English language can make the learning process even more engaging, imaginative, and motivating for students. Nasabdan ra class? Pasigido ka na mo dira ha, sayo pa kayo. Okay! Let's proceed to the next session of this topic, which will be done by Miss Mayville.
Thank you, Miss Annie. So, hello class, I'm Miss Mabel and I will just add a few things what Miss Annie said. So, are you ready to listen? Very good. That's the spirit. So, to add the linguistic load of unfamiliar vocabulary can make such text impenetrable and synthetic. Complexity can make such text impenetrable and ultimately very demotivating. A compromise position is to simplify them in a ways which retain their genuine flavor. This is the approach generally adopted by the course writers nowadays. Another alternative is to write the classroom text, but to make them more engaging than the example quoted. In fact, the text about Mr. West could be made somewhat more attention-grabbing. This is Mr. West. He has a bag on his left hand. Then the question is, where is he standing? Or right there. He is standing at the door of his house. Oh, as if na ay door sa iyang house dira. Then, what is Mr. West going to do? He is going to put his hand into his pocket and is going to point the gun to someone. God, look, no? So, I'm going to read the example. The implications of this context, sensitive views of language and grammar teaching are that grammar is the best taught and practiced in context, and this is also the means using the whole text as context for grammar teaching. So for me, no, I'm more in favor on teaching grammar than kay makakita mong good ta sa text nga unfamiliar words ya mabasahan ng mga meaning. So in that way, ma-learn ta and we can use and apply that in real communication. So that will be all, class, and I hope you learn a lot from me. And any questions so far? Wala ra. Okay. So, di na nato dugayon. I will give the floor to Miss Sandaline.
So, thank you, Miss Mabel, and hello class, I am Miss Sandaline. So, for today, we will talk about the advantages and disadvantages of using grammar through text. So, mag-wonder mo, mangutan mo, nga na may disadvantage, Miss? That is because we are dealing with different concepts. So, and each of us are lahi-lahi man og way or pamaagi sa pagkat-on. So, teaching grammar through text has many advantages. It contextualizes the target grammar structures from the text by providing contextual information. And to top of all that, we have all here the list of advantages and disadvantages of teaching grammar through text. So here are the advantages of using text. First, they provide contextual information, allowing learners to deduce the meaning of unfamiliar grammatical items from the clue text. The second one, if the texts are authentic, they can show how the item is used in real communication. Next, as well as grammar input text, it provides vocabulary input, skills practice, and exposure to features of text organization. The use of this in the classroom is a good preparation for independent study. Next, if the text came from the students themselves, they may be more engaging and their language features therefore are memorable. The next one, texts provide a context for grammar learning, starting with a meaning, focused to activity to explore grammar through isolated sentences. Next, text offers learners the opportunity to infer the meaning of unknown grammatical structures from the text by providing contextual information. The next one, the texts illustrate how the structure is used in actual communication, especially if they are authentic. In addition to grammar instruction, texts expose students to aspects of text organization. They also provided vocabulary input and relate structures to meaning and their language's system as a whole. Texts are also a good opportunity to demonstrate and practice reading skills practice. Discovering the rules by themselves from the data provided by the teachers in the form of a text, it encourages the learners. Next, the rules discovered by the students themselves from the text are far more memorable than the rules the rules told and explained by the teachers in isolated sentences. So since we are done with the advantages, let's move into the disadvantages of using text. The first one, the difficulty of the text, especially if they are authentic, may mean that some of the provided advantages are lost. Second, the alternative to use simplified text may give a misleading meaning and impression as to how the language is naturally used. Again, it will defeat the purpose of using text. The third one, not all text types are are equal in the student's interest. The fourth one, students who want to use quick answers to simple questions may consider the use of text to be their scenic route to language awareness and would prefer a quicker, more direct route instead. So, no single method of grammar presentation is going to be appropriate for all grammar items, nor for all the learners, nor for all the learning contexts. So, a lot will also depend on what are the kind of practices and opportunities that a teacher will provide. So, those are the advantages and disadvantages of of teaching grammar through text. And in this next chapter class, we will learn from Miss Fatima about teaching grammar through Torres. So, I'll give the floor now to Miss Fatima.
Thank you so much, Miss Sandeline, for the warm introduction. Hello, class. I am Miss Fatima, and today we are going to explore how grammar is taught through stories. So we all know stories, no? May I ask you, class, what's your favorite stories? Anyone? Oh, yes. Julian? Okay, Julian. Okay, ana siya iyang favorite story kay ang Frozen. Okay nga nung favorite man nimo Frozen, Julian? Tungod ni Olaf og sa kanta. Wow. Haha, so okay, for the next session, mo request ko ni Julian na mo kanta kay. Okay ba na, Julian? Okay, so di na ta maglangay. Let us start. Teaching grammar through stories. So stories can be a powerful tool in and out of the classroom. In addition to teaching us and helping us to remember information, stories can connect us to new ideas and new people. So ang stories ko no, makatabang nato to gather new ideas and connect new people. Is that true? Yes, it is true, kaya I also experienced this myself. When stories reflect your own experiences and backgrounds, they can make us feel recognized and heard. When stories are inspirational, they can motivate and empower us. So, grabe no, ka-powerful ang impact sa stories kay it can make us recognized, heard, motivated, and empowered. Why? Ngano kaha? That is because stories are mostly based on the experiences and thoughts of the people writing it. So, ang magbasa or ang readers will or can draw connection to it. Di ba kabantay mo after reading a part of the story, makana jud mo na, ay nakarelate jud ko ani, legit jud ni. So, inaana na siya class ang teaching grammar through stories. So, let us proceed. Incorporating stories into grammar practice is particularly effective because students can, number 1, see how grammar is used in authentic contexts. So in here, we can learn grammar in stories through circumstances presented in the story. Like for example, sa beginning na part of the story, mga nadayon og once upon a time. So kani pa lang, we can learn grammar through stories by indicating the time, setting, and events of the story. Second, remember the grammar more easily than with discrete sentences on unrelated topics. So through stories kuno, we can remember easily, and this is very true ha. Kay I have a sister class. She's in 4th grade this year, and akong mama gitagaan siya storybook, and then every day and night kato ra jud iyang masahon. So a few days later, sige ra siya storyaan ng particular lines sa storybook, and it really amazed me. Kay aside sa maka-learn siya grammar, ma-fluent na pud siya sa English. Nice kaayo siya especially sa kids, no? Kay it will develop their vocabulary and not just grammar. So the third one is develop their creativity. Yes, and this one, it will also develop their creativity as well. Stories unravel wide imagination. So mao ni mga bata nga bisag unsa na lang imaginon. Hala dagan-dagan na sila dira. Magpalabuanay sa ilang powers kuno. But that is one of the benefits of stories, no? To enable your children to dream and imagine. So number 4 or fourth, learn about important people and events, both past and present. So kani siya, this will be much more significant basta makatimaan ang mga bata sa ilang ipangbasa. Like my sister, basta wan init na gani mo, na siya na ako na, halagi kasal na tikwalang og tawron ti. So inana siya no, although it's funny but it's substantial kay she is trying to draw connection between the story and the reality. Fifth, feel recognized and empowered when classroom stories mirror even their own experiences. This is the time nga ang student gani kay maka-feel nga siya na recognized or empowered when the stories reflects or mirrors his or her own experiences. Like for example, stories nga ang moral lesson kay dili mamakak. So makarelate jud sila na kay usahay mamakak man sila, especially if mulaag mga inana. But at the end of the day, they will realize their actions and learn from it. And lastly, be inspired to learn more or to take action on a subject of particular importance to them. Also, mao ni siya sumpay sa akong sulti ganina nga, it will make them realize and take responsibilities of their actions. So ang stories no, aside from the fact that it teaches us grammar, it also teaches us life lessons. So let us proceed. How can stories teach grammar? So with a little creativity, stories can be used to teach nearly any grammatical structure. So in this section, we provided a few examples for 4 frequently taught grammar topics: simple past, relative clauses, time order words and structures, and modals of prediction and possibility. So I'll discuss the first one. So, arita sa first one. Simple past. A story is a natural place to use verbs in the simple past. So, most likely ko no, ang stories, ang gamiton ng verbs ay nakay simple past jud. And the number and variety of activities to practice this in the classroom are staggering. So, here are 3 of the practices nga ang estudyante maka-learn og simple past through stories. So, number 1 is fill in the blank. Students read a historical or fictional passage where some of the verbs are missing and fill in the verbs in the correct tense with or without a proposed list of possibilities.